do what they've done to America these last 18 months. And I think every American, your point about unity, I think every American, not Republicans, not Democrats, every American can feel that they are less secure, less safe, that their borders are under threat, that crime is higher. Those are things that come just 4 weeks from now when people start voting in the midterms. I think the American people are going to reject exactly what it is President Biden has given them.
Here was Biden today, Secretary Pompeo, touting one of his really big priorities at the UN. Watch.
My administration is working with our Congress to deliver more than $11 billion a year to international climate finance, to help lower-income countries implement their climate goals and ensure a just energy transition.
Now, Mr. Secretary, we are wasting more money on projects that do nothing to keep this country safe. Nothing.
Everyone remembers Solyndra. It seems like history just repeating itself from the Obama years or the Carter years, where we take taxpayer money and give it to some slush fund leftist to do something that will have no value for the American people. We can see it. We have trapped American energy in the ground. This was a deeply political decision. The president today kind of said the quiet part out loud in his speech. He talked about the Inflation Reduction Act, but said, no, this is the biggest climate project in American history. This is bad for the American people. It's dangerous for our security. I am confident that there's not a family in America who thinks that was a good idea or will serve their own family well.
The Citibank CEO appeared at a congressional hearing today, and she was answering a question about decoupling from China, which is something you and I have talked about a lot. Watch what she says here.
When we look at the clients that we serve, many of them are multinational clients in China, and we see that there is a high degree of interdependence. We've got to take a strategic view in America as to where it is that we need more strategic independence and to build that in a thoughtful manner, but also in a way that doesn't cause crises, economic crises.
Okay, so Jane Fraser there, Mr. Secretary. She doesn't want to pull back from China because they have a lot of Chinese clients. I just did the quick summation of what she said.
That's a pretty good summary, Laura, one that you and I have heard from big finance here in the United States for an awfully long time. I will tell you, it also sounds an awful lot what I heard from Chinese leaders, Chinese leadership saying, oh, we're so connected, it'll be really bad for you. This is precisely the wrong-headed thinking that for 40 years didn't recognize that the Chinese Communist Party has declared economic war on America. They built their economy on the back of America, and we allowed them to do it. I hope our senior financial leaders will begin to truly understand that they are American companies with American interests and do the things that will defend American freedom and put real pressure on the Chinese Communist Party to begin to behave.
Yeah, no. They said today, we don't, which is true. They said we don't make policy, but we consult with the U.S. government. I think it was Jamie Dimon who might have said that today. But they're making it clear, like, you can't decouple because that would cause tumult. And what I'd say to Jamie Dimon is, you wanted Biden, and now you got Biden. How does it feel? Feel good, Jamie?
Yeah. And don't forget, Laura, when Congress attempted to put some pressure on China about their human rights violations, the Uyghur Act, the banks lobbied against it. They went to Capitol Hill and said, this is a bad idea to protect human rights.
Yeah.
To say they don't shape policy, make policy, and impact America is just silly.
Disgusting. Mr. Secretary, great to see you tonight. Thank you. Now, another pillar in the left's dream world is this idea that the walls are closing in on former President Trump. And today, the corrupt New York Attorney General Letitia James filed a lawsuit against former President Trump. Now, several of his family members, as well as associates and businesses, were also named in the action. And the allegation was that there were numerous acts of fraud and misrepresentation in financial statements. Now, there are many reasons why this charade is an obvious act of political retribution. First, the timing. James is a political hack, and dropping this just 48 days before the midterms just reeks. Further, she herself is locked in a closer race than she'd like in deep blue New York. She included the Trump kids, which even Bill Barr, no fan of Trump these days, called a gross overstep. And finally, she campaigned on this.
I'm running for Attorney General because I will never be afraid to challenge this illegitimate president. when our fundamental rights are at stake. It's important that everyone understand that the days of Donald Trump are coming to an end.
What an odious individual. Joining me now is Michael Henry. He's the Republican challenging the New York Attorney General, and obviously the race is coming in November. Michael, shouldn't Trump's lawyers move to disqualify James, given her previous statements about targeting Trump?
Right, like, I don't want to make any conclusion on an investigation I might inherit when I take office, but I would say what's most troubling about Letitia James is in 2018, she literally ran for office saying she was going to find crimes to charge the former president with, and additionally, she went so far as to declare his guilt before she was sworn into office. So I do think she has an issue here, and I think the timing of this correlates with some polling numbers that I think shocked her.
Well, right now, New York is lagging behind states of generally the same population. When you look at economic growth in Florida, new businesses, new people moving into the state, Florida's just killing New York across the board, killing them by beating them. And yet, this is what the state is focusing on. We have a rampant violent crime problem in the state, and the corrupt state legislature, frankly, throw that into the mix.
Yeah, we have a cost of living crisis, we have a crime crisis, we have a corruption crisis. I mean, we're in a situation where everyday New Yorkers right now understand that Letitia James does not care about crime. She recently said she needs more credible data before she'd revisit the cashless bail law, and more credible data means more victims. She turns a blind eye to the broad daylight corruption going on right now with Kathy Hochul, where the taxpayers are apparently subsidizing her re-election campaign. There's a cost of living crisis. Much of this has to do with the inefficiencies of the Attorney General's office in many industries she oversees. And this is why she's suffering in the polls, because everyday New Yorkers understand this, and this transcends party affiliation, which is why I have the best polling numbers right now of any statewide Republican in over 20 years.
Well, I'm telling you, New York can't want this. I mean, I don't care what you think about Trump, but New York State is not a functioning state right now. It's not functioning. And you're beating Letitia James in the new Trafalgar poll I just saw. And now it's very close, only a 1.2 percentage points, but still, excuse me, 0.8. My math isn't very good tonight. But that's pretty cool. We hope it keeps up.
Yeah, look, we knew this was a winnable race when we got into this race. We've seen a pathway to victory. It transcends party affiliation, where Republicans, Democrats, like independents are all tired of Letitia James. They understand that she's a completely ineffective and the most political attorney general in the country. And they could go to my website to find out more, michaelhenry4ag.com.
All right, Michael, thank you so much, and good luck to you. New York, you've got to make a change. They're back. Well, the Clinton Global Initiative has resurrected its annual conference in order to promote their latest grift. What is it? We're going to tell you next. Plus, a liberal nutcase admits to running down a conservative teen in his car and killing him. So where are the cries of condemnation from Biden and his pals? That story next. Bill and Hill are back with the return of their annual Clinton Global Initiative soiree. Tara Palmieri over at Puck noted that the initiative's muted return is evidence that its first family is doing some brand burnishing. Brand burnishing? Maybe their pocketbooks. Maybe that's what they're burnishing. It just so happens to be something that we've warned you about now for over a year. I'm talking about ESG investing. That arbitrary rating system that globalists are using to pressure companies to conform their progressive energy practices and other diversity practices. Now, this discussion would not be complete without BlackRock CEO and China stooge Larry Fink getting a tongue bath from Slick Willie.
I want to thank you for urging people to consider the social impact of their investments and try not just to go for a quick rate of return if it's damaging to society, but instead to try to build a future we can all share. I want to say one thing about Larry that I really admire, quite apart from the fact that he's not a climate change denier.
I'm the target of all those.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, I'm still laughing about the tongue bath. All right, of course, Fink was happy, though, to use this opportunity to push